Oh, man. The event of events for DC Comics is here. We're talking about DC KO Event 5-issue series by Scott Snyder. You already know what to do. Get your brass knuckles, get your armor on, get your sword and shield, strap in, roll that intro, cuz.
Yeah.
What's going on, Geek Corner? This is your boy, Earth Smack the Mad Scientist, and welcome back to the Orange Phoenix Media channel. So today we are going to talk about the DCKO event. Issue number 1 is out, and I've been sitting on this for a little minute. I ain't gonna hold you. I did read it day one. I like, you know what? I'm gonna let this thing cook. I'm gonna let it marinate. I don't want to do it the day of. I don't want to do it day one. I'm gonna let it marinate because I want you guys to digest this information, right? Because I'm gonna go over this story, and obviously you ought to know what to do. You want to stick around to the end of this video because I'm gonna give you my personal review of this DCKO event and what I expect out of this by the end of this, because this is just the middle story. This is not even the end game here. But let's jump into it. So the DCKO event opens up with Superman, doing his stretches, get his shoulders and arms right. But it goes on to say, here in the dark, in the moments before it begins, he tells himself it's just another fight. A brawl like countless ones before. A contest, a game to win. Hell, for this one, everyone even got to bring gear. Clark brought the knuckles. He forged them in the fortress years ago, and after returning from the dead, Knuckles with miniature suns raging inside. Angry suns taken from empty universes. He thought about calling them Dawn's Day Knuckles, and Lois, nah, we ain't gonna deal with that. But obviously, even so, with them, he's stronger, faster, ready to throw down. He's fought in other dimensions, other universes, fought gods and titans. What's one more fight? And then the doors open. But we don't see what he sees, but we go back to, I wouldn't say go back. I say go, yeah, let's just say go back. Go back to the future, right? So Diana, Clark, and Bruce is having a day off, a rare day off, and they leave their capes and cowls behind, their sword and shield, and they're just having a game night. This is a regular old-fashioned game night where they talk about their kids and talk about what's going on in life, stuff outside of heroism. They have some sense of normalcy. And so they're playing some kind of board game, right? And obviously Clark doesn't really like board games like that because Lois says something in a way that's kind of like foreshadowing for this comic. And I'm definitely going to dive deep into that once we get further in. And she says, I warned you, Clark doesn't like a game unless no one has to lose. And Diana was like, oh, come on, Clark, man. Losing builds character. And he's like, so does winning. And so I, for one, am glad you invited us. Thanks, Lois. And of course, I just thought you'd never get to spend time together. I mean, you're not saving the world. And she's like, thanks, Lo. I'm glad, too. Now, from that standpoint, for them playing this board game, DARKSEID shows up. Now, he shows up as King Omega. Like, he get the Omega energy. Now, put a pin in that for a second. If you go back to the All-In special, the Justice League pretty much kills DARKSEID, but they didn't do it like, yeah, we killed DARKSEID or whatever the case may be. We finally got rid of that mofo. DARKSEID let it happen because he, in a way, he wanted to resurrect himself and create his own universe, the absolute universe, where all those awesome absolute comics are coming from. That is a creation from DARKSEID, and he's doing that to collect the Omega energy so he can come back and destroy this universe. And he definitely destroys it. Like the parademons are now Omega demons, Omega parademons. And from that standpoint, he's able to be everywhere all at once. Like at one point, he was in Gotham and Themyscira, the Rock of Eternity, and Oa, all at the same time, and taking out each hero one by one, including Batman, including Wonder Woman, and finally Superman. And now we go back to the present, and where we are reintroduced to the Time Trapper, which is basically Doomsday. Now, obviously, you guys are familiar with Doomsday. This is the OG Doomsday, the one that pretty much killed Superman. And the fact that Doomsday has died so many times, or whatever the case may be, he's evolved to the point of being the Time Trapper. But he's part of this group called the Quantum Pearl. And in the Quantum Chrome, he has Booster Gold, Gorilla Grodd, and the World Forger. Now, Time Trapper tells him, he's like, listen, this is what we have. And he was like, when, Time Trapper, when did this happen? And Time Trapper's like, it already did, my boy. And like, look, we of the Quantum Quorum has managed to combine our chronal powers to rewind time by 7 days. But Darkseid has already conquered the future. And right now, he's making his way back through time to this moment. He's like, all right, and go on. How do we stop him this time? He's like, all right, this time you don't. You can't stop him. He like, the timeline before you is the history of our universe. The flame just ahead of this moment is him. We've explored every variation, and no matter what you try, he consumes you and moves on. It all ends here, in this moment, with Darkseid. Now, from that standpoint, he said, there's something we could do. And Gorilla Grodd like, nah, it's nothing you can do. He like, come on, Booster. Come on, what we got going on? He like, hell, we've watched you try 1,000 things 1,000 times. You always lose. From what we've seen, there's only one thing you can do. He like, and what's that? He like, give up and start over. Now, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not a biggest fan of starting over, like this whole new universe type of situation. So obviously, that is not the option here. And obviously, Nightwing is not a big fan of it. He's like, right. Now, how that turn out for us again? To quote the gorilla, nope, I ain't doing this again. And so, from that standpoint, you see, like, there's an Atlantean proverb: every new wave is ancient. This reality is our history, our story. Without it, what will we be? He's like, alive? That will you be? He's like, in a damn bubble? Like, so yeah, so sounds like running, and we don't run. He's like, I mean, I do, but still. So Batman was like, enough. We need to understand what we're up against, Quorum. How did Darkseid become this? And this where it goes back to World Forger. He says, to understand him, you must understand what he speaks. Our universe is full of mysterious energies. But since its inception, its two most primal are the twin energies we call Alpha and Omega. Alpha is the energy of creation, and while explosive and nearly all planets with life are sources of alpha energy, but not Apocalypse. At Apocalypse core is an infernal machine, a heart that runs on Omega energy, the energy of conquest, absorption, control. And when Darkseid sought it eons ago, it chose him as its champion and transformed him into the enemy you have fought so many times. From what that moment on, he sought to turn Earth, reality's greatest source of alpha energy, into a new Apocalypse. And so, when he formed his new universe, he placed a heart of Apocalypse at his primordial Earth center. All Omega energy in that realm flows to him, making him absolute. Thus, he has become that universe's King Omega, the personification of all its Omega energy and a walking singularity that transforms all around him, which is why we must act quickly. This Earth is already transforming upon his approach. Many of you have likely sensed the heart of Apocalypse growing at its center. And Mr. Terrific says, hence the fire pits and the parademons popping up around the globe this last year. Now remember, in Justice League Unlimited, they had a little issue with some parademons. And so Batman was like, so hold on. If there's a heart of Apocalypse forming at the center of our Earth right now, could we use it to transform one of us into something like him, a King Omega? And one of them was like, yeah, that's an idea. Hey, Grodd was like, that's a terrible freaking idea. And you're like, impossible. The heart is cosmically connected to Darkseid. It serves him only. To change that, you need to restart it entirely, blast it with Omega energy you don't have. And he was like, Batman was like, hold up. But Booster does. Watchtower readers show him brimming with it from being trapped with Darkseid for years. Now remember, Booster Gold was a prisoner of Darkseid. And he was being tortured for years. So Batman is not too far from the truth, saying that Booster Gold is brimming with it. He was like, I don't think you comprehend what you be unleashing. Now, from that standpoint, he says, so show us, World Forger. Show us. He like, look, you must understand the heart is a living thing, sentient, reborn. It will immediately seek a champion, someone fueled by conquest. And conquest only. You're heroes. And Grodd just been matter of fact, y'all soft as hell. He like, even hungry and new, it would not let your kind near it. It would defend itself. He like, defend itself how? He like, it's fourth dimensional, not bound by our physics. By my calculations, it will reshape itself to test you, create a tournament, each of these rings would be a higher level of a challenge. He's like, all right, so take on some measly parademons. Now, at this point, now Flash is not smart at all. He's like, look, not parademons, you idiot.
Dummy, yeah. Yeah. Dummy, yeah. Yeah.
Each other. You will compete with each other. And Superman's like, what? He's like, yeah, it'd be competition to find the ultimate conqueror among you, a champion. Now, from that standpoint, now, it seems like everybody is on board. But Doomsday did warn them. He says, fine, then answer me this. Heroes, the heart responds only to Omega energy, the energy of conquest. Every ring you enter will test you further in strength, cunning, strategy, and to prevail, you must fill the heart's fire pits to match Darkseid's power. That means you must compete only to win. No mercy, no passion. Can you truly do that? And that's when the room got quiet. And Superman's like, forget it. I ain't doing that. Now, Wonder Woman and Batman shows up. Like, listen, bro, stop being a bitch. Okay, they just said it without saying it. Stop being a bitch. Like, at this point, this Earth is already his. Like, this is the only option we have. You got to man up because, bro, we need you. We need you. Whatever, like, personal hangups that you got or whatever, you got to kick that to the curb, man, because we need you here. You need to be unforgiving in this standpoint. Like, all of us has to be. Whether you win or we win, but you may be our greatest chance. He said, listen, we do this, really do it, and what's to stop the villains from following us down there? He's like, Bruce, imagine Joker in this tournament. Imagine Lex. If they were to win and have that power. He's like, I can't, or Cheetah, or any of the worst, so we won't let them. He say, so you spent the last year turning the Phantom Zone from something punitive into a place of healing. We put our adversaries there for now to keep them safe and to keep them out. So that was the plan. Now, from that standpoint, he's like, listen, that's what the league is discussing right now. Now, this could work, Clark. Now, you got to think about this. And it goes down to the bottom panel and says, no, against him, remember that, and it becomes your favorite kind, like Lois said, the kind where no one really loses. Now, that goes back to the beginning of this comic because Superman doesn't like a game where someone loses. And it's also, that's part 2 of this. Part 3 of this is later on because Mr. Terrific is sticking behind. The Titans are sticking behind. Now, honestly and truly, I like this old adage of better late than never because between Lex Corp and Wayne Enterprises and Queen Industries and 10 others, they built mega arcs to prevent against, world threats at this point. I'm like, damn, you should have done this a long time ago, dude. Like, you had to wait till Darkseid get Omega energy enough to be King Omega to actually, like, you know what, let's protect Earth from everything. So from this standpoint, I hope they keep this, but I'm also disappointed in the fact that Mr. Terrific is not in this tournament because I feel like Mr. Terrific can clean up out here. Like, he honestly and truly, even though he calls himself the 3rd smartest man, I feel like he is the smartest man in DC, and I feel like in his way of strategic timing and his ways of getting around things, he could very well win this tournament and create things in whatever image that he wants to. Missed opportunity, DC. Missed opportunity. But from that standpoint, on the 5th day, everybody get their equipment. Batman gets his armor, and Wonder Woman gets her God Killer armor, and obviously Cyborg gets his father box, and this is when you see Superman, this is at the beginning of this comic, he gets his Sun Brass Knuckles. I say brass knuckles, but that's what it reminds me of, brass knuckles. So Sun Knuckles, if you will. Now, fast forward to the beginning of this tournament. So this way it really gets interesting because Superman is approached by these 3 godlike beings. And you see everybody else pulls up, and the first person to get packed up and shipped off is Billy Batson, Shazam himself, like Captain Marvel. Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what was going on in your mind, bro? Like, you chose to hit Shazam while you on planet. Like, you chose to say that then. Like, why didn't you transform before you got here? Like, to at least have a fighting chance. But the man got packed up and shipped off.
Got his ass cooked.
And like, yeah, you may begin. Like, he ain't even had a snowball's chance in hell or even racing. So this first test is a race to get through the portal, and only a select number of people can make it through this tunnel. Now, from that standpoint, Superman is already hurt by the fact that, Shazam got crushed, and he goes after the god, but Batman stops him. He's like, look, Clark, put your head in the game, man. Keep your mind focused. You got to get through that gate. Like, yeah, I know you want to fight these dudes, but they are minuscule compared to what we got going on. Now, you see all these other heroes. You see Jay Garrett, this is the first Flash, and there's a bunch of traps on the floor, along with the 3 other guys that's out here swinging at them. So they're still setting off traps, trying to stay alive. You see the likes of the Green Lanterns, you see Harley Quinn, you see Red Hood, and you see this little banter between Harley Quinn and Red Hood, calling him a zombie boy. And obviously Wonder Woman is doing her thug thizzle with the God Killer armor, and Cyborg is handling business, as well as Plastic Man, which is OP as all get out, which I feel like he's going to make it further in the tournament. He doesn't have a hard time at all. Now, the other interesting part is these other miniature characters. There's one that broke the 4th wall. Obviously, he says, look out, obscure character in a massive line-wide event coming through. I'm at extremely high risk of death. And literally, he's done at that point. Now, Lobo is one of the people that actually makes it through. Superman is doing something that typical Superman would do. He is fighting, trying to make sure everyone else make it through the portal, and he's still in that frame of mind. Now, that's when it says, because without even realizing it, it's Clark hanging back instead of blasting through. He's clearing the way for his friends. In the shadows, the fire pits pass angrily. Behind him, heroes begin to cross the finish line. Diana, Mari, Kara. Now, at that point, Batman had to make this man come to again. He's like, listen, Superman. He's like, focus. You need to stay. And the moment he does that, he gets punched through the chest, harpooned through the chest by no other than the Joker. Somehow, some way, they escaped the prisons that Mr. Terrific created earlier in this comic. And Joker just says something very clever. He's like, I guess Batman doesn't always win. Now, put a pin in that for a second. Now, do you think Batman is going to actually not live through this? Because this is a DC KO Nightfall where Batman fights Robin. So obviously Batman's not dead, but he's severely injured and he's not going to be in this tournament. Now, is this part of his plan? I don't know. Only time will tell. But Batman is a strategic planner. Now, yeah, he did catch it though. He did get caught slipping though. Now, from that standpoint, it says here, how did the villains escape? How did they get here? Clark has no time to figure it out. It only takes them moments to rush the finish line. Giganta makes it through. Joker makes it through. Then Lex. But before he crosses the finish line, Lex turns to Superman and smiles. There's something in Lex's smile. It takes Clark a moment to realize that it's pity. It's a smile that says, go save a freaking cat from a tree. But leave this to us, Boy Scout. Now, he thinks back to the game night, to Bruce's words. His fist curled, and then no one knows what hit him. The Titans, the Omega Demons, the heart itself. In Superman's ears is a new sound. He blasts through. And he was the very last person to make it through the portal. Now, from the standpoint, you get the 32 champions. Now, I'm not even going to hold you. This is a nice little list. I'm a little salty that Mr. Terrific is not there. That's one of my major gripes. Okay, another one of my major gripes is that y'all doing some of the black characters kind of dirty, because making it to the second round, you might fight another black character, which means only one can make it through. The setup is kind of off to me, but this is the setup for DCKO event. Now, remember these black boxes and like these narrations? It was really the Heart of Apocalypse itself, and it says, I can tell you the answer. Now, if you like, I am the Heart of Apocalypse after all, the one who crowned Darkseid so long ago. So yes, I know who would join the ranks of the fallen. I know all the twists and turns that await them. So many. The surprises are coming. Like his 3 destroyers, horsemen, from a world where his rule is absolute monsters. And these are just some of the horrors that await. But if you want to know the real truth, the final one, I'll tell you, is that none of them win. Not Clark, not Diana, not Mari, or Eel. None. Because what they don't know is that there is one last champion among them. The king himself. That's right, Darkseid, having taken the form of one of their own. So no, friend, the game isn't the beginning. It's already over. Yo, Booster Gold is that turncoat, man. I mean, like, come on now. You really thought that Booster Gold being a prisoner on Apocalypse for so long, for so many years, and he's brimming with Omega energy, that he's gonna come around unscathed? He's gonna come around like clean through all this? Nah. So clearly the ram in the bush is Booster Gold, man. I do love what they're doing with Booster Gold. He's not like this jokey type of character anymore. He needs to be taken seriously. So we will see what happens. Now, if you look at this bracket right here, you notice Batman is not there. You see a Joker smile, so Joker will take on Star Sapphire. Now, this right here is very, very much of a fun series. I will tell you that I need y'all to treat this like anime, okay? I need y'all to treat this like anime. I'm gonna need y'all not to get in every nook and cranny of superheroism and you reading comics to try to make sense of it all. Just have fun with this, okay? Have fun with this series, okay? And honestly and truly, it's gonna go all the way over to March 2026. And for what I understood and the stuff that I heard and the stuff that I read, this DCKO event is kind of like the middle ground. There's another event that's going to take place next year. So we will see what happens. Now, as far as DARKSEID being that undercover person, the person that's pretty much taking the guys of Booster Gold, like Booster Gold is a catalyst in all of this. But I will tell you, if I had my pick, who I would like to win that tournament, it's not the Trinity. It's not Batman. It's not Superman. It's not Wonder Woman. I want Big Barda. I want Big Barda to win that joint. I need her to get that dub. You know what I'm saying? I need her to run it. That's what I need. That's what I want, man. I want Big Barda. Either Big Barda, maybe Plastic Man. Because I think when it comes down to Plastic Man, I think people are going to have a huge issue trying to beat him if he takes everything seriously. You catch what I'm saying? If he takes everything seriously, Plastic Man is going to be a huge, huge problem. But I will say, though, from what Time Trapper has been saying earlier in the comic, it's not just physical. They're going to test your cunning, your strategy, and everything else in between. So, I mean, on the surface, you look at the likes of Superman and Supergirl and Power Girl and everybody else that's like OP, and like physically, they can make their way through this bracket. But if there's other challenges involved here, then they may come out on the losing end. They may not make it. But again, I'm gonna stick with my pick. Barda, Big Barda, I want her to win this thing. I want her to win this thing because this will shake up the DC universe, honestly and truly. Because obviously, when you get down to it, it's kind of like a no-brainer if you say Wonder Woman or Superman or Batman or whatever the case may be. Obviously, Batman is not in the tournament. He hung back forcibly. But it would be different. It would be different. You know, be outside of the box. Let Big Barda win this thing. So far, for this review of DCKO, now KO doesn't stand for knockout. It stands for King Omega. So please do not get that twisted, okay? Don't get that twisted. Obviously, there's a line of events. There's stuff that's going on. Obviously, there's more Justice League Unlimited because there are heroes that hung back. There's Titans, there's Mr. Terrific, and so on and so forth. So there's still Justice League Unlimited that needs to be read. There's DCKO Nightfall, which obviously involves Batman. So that kind of leads on to the belief that Batman is not dead. Okay, and if he is dead, he's not going to stay dead. That somehow, some way, he's going to come back. So this here is going to be Superman fighting himself because Batman is trying to get his head in the game. Well, at least tried to get his head in the game. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see. Like, he's going to have to get past his own handcuffs if he want to push his way through to get, you know, to either be that Omega type of character to fight DARKSEID. Because, I mean, if Superman makes it through all of this, I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised. But give me something different, DC. Give me something different. So, you already know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell. So now when you hit that drop down box on the notification bell, make sure it says all. Make sure it says all. That way you get notified on all of our content, whether it's live or recorded. And leave us some comments. Tell us what you thought of DCKO #1. So see you guys next time, y'all. Peace.